through your management. I
rather like the Queen now as well, don't you?
I always have. It's a human being. I would have no problems with her at all.
Johnny Rotten. To many, he was the sneering face of punk rock. The kid who spat on stage, insulted royalty, and shouted, "No future," to an entire generation. Parents feared him, critics dismissed him, and the establishment wanted him silenced. But peel back the safety pins and torn clothes, and you'll find something unexpected. Rotten wasn't just chaos. He was a collector of strange, brilliant, and wildly sophisticated musical influences. And these 6 favorite artists of his will completely change the way you see punk's most notorious voice. People thought punk was built from nothing, that it came from pure rage. But Rotten himself once admitted, "I was listening to everything: jazz, classical, experimental noise. Punk was only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And that puzzle was filled with some surprising names." Let's start with one that shocked even punk diehards, Scott Walker. Walker began as a teen heartthrob, a clean-cut star of the Walker Brothers. But instead of chasing easy hits, he abandoned commercial fame for strange, brooding, avant-garde soundscapes that critics called orchestral nightmares. Rotten admired this transformation deeply. To him, Walker was living proof that real rebellion meant destroying your own success to seek the truth. Rotten once told a friend, "That's the real punk move. Walking away from money to find honesty." His influence can be traced in Rotten's later willingness to alienate audiences with Public Image Limited, just as Walker had alienated his pop fans with uncompromising art. Then there's Captain Beefheart, the blues magician who redefined what music could even sound like. Beefheart's trout mask replica was one of Rotten's obsessions. While other rock icons polished their music for radio, Beefheart created sonic chaos that ignored every commercial rule. Rotten would blast the album, declaring, "This is what real rebellion sounds like, not following anyone's rules, not even musical ones." Beefheart showed him that art could be ugly, dissonant, and still completely authentic. That spirit of uncompromising creativity became one of Rotten's guiding principles. But perhaps the most bizarre influence of all came from the world of reggae. Lee Scratch Perry, the eccentric Jamaican producer, treated the studio like a laboratory. He built dub tracks filled with echo, silence, and distortion that sounded like transmissions from another world. Rotten didn't just enjoy Perry's music. He saw him as a genius on the edge of madness. "He's not making records," Rotten once explained. "He's creating new realities." The lessons of dub would seep into Rotten's later work, teaching him that silence could be as powerful as noise, and that true art often feels like chaos before it reveals its meaning. But Rotten's taste wasn't confined to experimental noise or reggae grooves. One of his most shocking heroes was Vandergraaf Generator, a progressive rock band whose frontman Peter Hamel sang with a desperate, unrelenting intensity. Rotten recalled the first time he heard Hamel scream over sweeping prog arrangements, saying, "That man sings like his life depends on it." To Rotten, it proved that sophistication and raw emotion weren't enemies, they could coexist, creating what he called beautiful violence. This admiration gave Rotten the confidence to stretch beyond the 2-minute punk song format and embrace something grander, more theatrical. And then there's Neil Young, the folk rock legend who seemed like the complete opposite of punk. But what Rotten respected wasn't the style, it was the principle. Neil Young built his career on refusing to give audiences what they wanted. Every time fans thought they had him figured out, he changed direction. Rotten admired that fearlessness. To him, Young was a true rebel, not against society, but against his own success. It inspired Rotten's own refusal to sell out, even when reunion tours and easy money were on the table. Finally, at the very top of Rotten's list, stood Nico, the haunting singer from the Velvet Underground. Her solo work, especially the Marble Index, was unlike anything else, cold, stark, and brutally honest. Rotten became obsessed, saying, "She sings like she's already dead, but somehow more alive than anyone else. It's the most honest sound I've ever heard." Nico's refusal to be likable, her dedication to uncompromising darkness, was to him the ultimate act of rebellion. She wasn't trying to entertain. She was simply expressing raw truth, no matter how uncomfortable it made listeners feel. For Rotten, that was art in its purest form. So there you have it. The man who embodied punk's anger was actually fueled by influences as far-reaching as avant-garde blues, Jamaican dub, orchestra darkness, and folk rebellion. Johnny Rotten's record collection wasn't built on destruction. It was built on curiosity, defiance, and the courage to embrace the strange. Which one of these influences surprised you most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold rock stories. This is Rock Fame Diaries. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next deep dive into the legends who shaped music history. God bless.